What's going on? You got questions, I've got answers. So let's dive into some Q&A about fitness, nutrition, and that's going to be about it for today. No mindset stuff for these questions. So question number 1, what is your method for designing programs? That is a pretty big question. Even though it's like 5 words, it's a big question. So I'm going to keep it down to the nuts and bolts about program design and not really get into the nitty-gritty of things. First off, when designing a program, we got to figure out, where are you at? Where are you at with your current fitness? Or is it day 1 for you? Or have you been training for 20 years? Or have you been training for 2 years? Those are all very different start points. So we got to find out, where are you currently at with your fitness level? Then we got to find out, what are your current strengths and what are your weaknesses? Do you have any past injuries or current injuries that might limit you from doing any exercises like squats, push-ups, or specific movements like raising your arm overhead, hinging forward? So we got to find out, what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, and what are your limiting factors that usually come from injuries? Once we have those, we've established where you at with your current fitness routine, what's been your history, and what are your strengths and weaknesses. We can then take those and design a program. We got to also then think, I missed a step, what is the result you're looking for? Whether that is to improve performance, to have injury prevention, to burn fat, gain muscle, improve overall well-being, confidence, whatever the result is. The thing is, depending on the result, the training is going to be about 80% the same. If you're looking to, let's say, build muscle or burn fat, the training is going to be the same with just minor differences. The main thing we're going to change there for that result is your nutrition and your lifestyle. Now, if you want to increase performance, we're going to have, depending on what you want to perform with, we will have to change some things up to improve whatever performance it is. Whether that is, hey, I want to build overall strength. I want to be able to run a marathon. I want to be able to jump higher. I want to be able to sprint faster. I want to become more stable, or I want to become better at whatever sport that you're trying to play. So we got to think, those questions first lay out the, okay, what are we doing here and where's the foundation that we're at? Now, depending on where you line up with those will determine what exercises and the approach that we'll take. Again, a lot of it will be relatively the same. We're just going to move around some things, whether you are starting off with, hey, you know what? We're going to be starting off with a bodyweight squat for you. Well, I might have somebody else starting off with a goblet squat where they're holding onto a weight. But very, very rarely will I have somebody start off with a more advanced exercise like a barbell back squat. So I always start people off with the beginner level stuff first, to prove that they're ready for the advanced stuff. So once they can do the advanced stuff, the beginner foundational level stuff really well, then it's time to bump them up to another level. That could be, hey, this person that's doing bodyweight squats, they're really good at it. They could do 20 reps without an issue. Their form is on point. Now you're ready to hold on to a weight. That person that started off with goblet squats, holding onto a weight, and they demonstrated good form, now it's time to hold on to 2 kettlebells up there, and then we can start to talk about how to do a barbell back squat. So we do take people through the progression of exercises. And then we will then think about, okay, hey, you know what? You want to improve, let's say, your stability. We'll all find ways to decrease stability with certain exercises. So that could be, hey, you know what? We're doing a shoulder press with dumbbells. But instead of standing with both feet on the floor, we're going to stand in a split squat position. That's where one leg is behind the other. So we've taken away some stability. We can take that one step further, take away this foot, so now they're standing on one leg while doing their shoulder presses. And that will help improve their balance and stability on their standing leg. So really it comes down to the assessment beforehand and finding out where you're at, where your body has been and the injuries that it may have had, what are your strengths and weaknesses. We also got to think about what do you enjoy. If you don't enjoy certain exercises, we can try to find workarounds for those. Then we got to find out, what are you looking to accomplish? What is the result you're looking for? And that's how we'll design a program for you. All right, next up, I have maxed out the weights I have access to. How can I make an exercise more challenging with the limited weights that I have? This is for people that have a home gym where they don't have access to places that have everything in stock. There was a great quote that I heard from Coach John Wolf from On It, and he said, make heavy weights look light, meaning form, make light weights feel heavy. Because there are times where you only have a certain amount of weights around. So how do we make light weights feel heavy? One of the things that we can do is, instead of thinking about reps, because if you have a weight and I say, hey, you know what, we're going to do a chest press for 8 reps, but you're like, coach, I can easily do 12 of these. 8 it's not heavy enough for 8. What we can do is we can change it up towards like, hey, you know what, instead of doing both at the same time, we're going to do an alternating. So we're going to do one at a time. And now you're spending more time under tension, because what took you, let's say, 10 seconds to do 8 reps, it's now going to take you 20 seconds to do 8 reps. We can take it a little bit further, and then we can decrease the time. So I could say, hey, you know what? I want you to go down 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and explosively press it up. 3, 2, 1, explosively press it up. So by shifting, instead of doing reps, think time under tension. If it takes me 10 seconds to get this exercise done, well, how about I slow down my pace to where it takes me 20 to 30 seconds to complete that exercise? Because you're spending more time under tension, those light weights will feel heavier near the end. Another thing that you can do to make light weights feel heavier is change up the angle. Now, you can't really do this with every single exercise, but let's say we're doing it for a squat. All right, you're holding on to let's say a 50-pound dumbbell. You're holding onto a 50-pound dumbbell, goblet squat position. It's right here in front of your chest. Well, instead of holding it like this, let's hold it by the sides. And as we're squatting down, let's extend that weight out in front of you a little bit. All right, because now we're extending that weight out in front, it's going to challenge more of our shoulders and our abs, making it a little more challenging. So changing the angle is going to make a lightweight feel heavier. Question number 3. Can you give an example of macro tracking and how you would throw together a salad, a lunch on the road, and a quick weeknight dinner? So I'm guessing that they want to see, hey, how would I throw those macros together on this specific day? I have a salad as my first meal, lunch on the road as the second meal, and a quick weeknight dinner. What I would do is, if I have a salad first, I'm going to prioritize always, again, just a good caveat, always prioritize protein. Always, always, always with each meal, prioritize protein. Have some sort of protein with every single meal. That said, the first meal, as a salad, I would prioritize fats and proteins. Because it's a salad, there's going to be a lot more vegetables in there. So what I would do is I'd put a healthy dose of protein, whether that's some sort of chicken, maybe it's tuna, maybe it's steak, whatever it is, I'll put a healthy source of protein in there. A nice handful, bam, pop it in there. And then I would throw in some avocado as my fats and just a little bit, poquito, little bit of dressing. I'm not going to douse it in there so my salad turns into soup. Do that, and that way you have high protein, some fats, and then lower carbs. Because lunch on the road is probably going to be a bowl or a sandwich, depending on what you have access to. We want to avoid fried foods. That's never going to make us feel too good. So if you're on the road, you could stop by like a Chipotle, Flame Broiler, Wawa Grill, and you can get some sort of bowl that is with rice. Maybe it has beans in there. You can also put a vegetable in there as well, and typically it has some sort of meat in there too. So getting a bowl will help you get some protein, it'll help you get your carbs, but also I would say keep your fats low. If you're going for a sandwich and you're on more of and you want to have less carbs, you can remove one of the pieces of bread and have less carbs. If you're kind of getting like more of a foot long, you can have them gut it. Say, hey, gut the bread, and they'll take out some of the insides of there. And then try to keep the sauces on the low end. So say, hey, you know what? Light mayo, light sauce, whatever it is. You can go heavy on the mustard. If you like mustard, get that, because mustard has 0 calories in it. And then, of course, you could say, hey, you know what? Double up on the protein. So on the bowl or the sandwich, I would say double up the protein. That way you're getting your carbs, you're getting your protein, and you're getting lower fats on that. And then a quick weeknight dinner. Ideally, you'd have your dinners prepped. That's an ideal world. But let's say you just didn't have your meals prepped, you just didn't have time, or whatever it was. What you could do is, at home, always keep something that you can easily heat up and make on your own. So that could be, hey, you have some frozen chicken breasts that are grilled, already cooked, and all you have to do is throw them in the microwave for 3 minutes. And you also have, let's say, some vegetables that are pre-chopped and ready to go. All you have to do is steam them or eat them raw. Cook up that chicken, cook up the vegetables, and have some fruit. Always have some fruit at home, whether it's apple, bananas, berries, whatever it is. So that way you have your chicken, you got your vegetables, and then you got your carbs right there. And that meal will be more high protein, medium carbs, medium fats. And that's how I would track my macros on a day where I'm having salad, lunch on the road, and a quick weeknight dinner. Again, always prioritize your proteins. Try to keep your fats and your carbs at more of a moderate level. Question number 4, fourth and final question. I work at a desk all day and I know I need to move more. How can I increase how many steps each day I am walking? Stepping. Steps are wonderful. Steps will have so many benefits to them. Walking is still one of the best and most underrated exercises that's around. No matter what physical level you are, if you can walk, you will receive benefits from walking and increasing your step count. There's a caveat. If you're already walking 10,000 steps a day, you don't really need to walk more. But if you're walking 2,000 to 5,000 steps a day, you will absolutely benefit from that. A good rule of thumb is try to get your steps to around 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day. Easier said than done. So what you can do is if you work at home all day and you have a desk job, like you have to sit, right? Maybe you don't work from home. What you can do is a couple different tips here. Number 1, if you take phone calls. If you take phone calls and you don't have to be writing notes down or anything like that, go on a walk. Go outside, even if it's a courtyard or in a park, wherever, go on a walk. I don't care if you're walking circles. I mean, if I'm on the phone here at the gym, I'm literally just walking circles around here unless I need to be at the computer taking notes. So anytime you're on the phone, go on a walk. It's really easy to walk and talk. Another thing you can do is, if you have access to it, is getting like a walking treadmill. There's these walking treadmills that will go underneath a desk, and you can have it at a low speed of 2 to 3 miles per hour. Walk on that as you're working. I know it can't apply for every single person, but if you have that as an option, that's a wonderful option to have. And walking treadmills, they really aren't that expensive. They're a couple $100, I think like $250, $300. You could also probably find some used ones by people that tried this but never stuck to it. But you won't be that person, right? You're going to stick to it. Another thing you can do is tie walking in with another activity. For me, I love listening to podcasts, and I absolutely love listening to new music. But I don't have the time to drive and listen to music or podcasts. So what I'll do is I'll listen to a podcast or the music and go on a walk. So what I'm doing is I'm not really going on a walk. Instead, I'm listening to a podcast. I just happen to be walking while listening to a podcast. So if you can couple up some sort of activity with walking, you're much more likely to walk. It'll make it a little bit stickier. So think, hey, if I'm on a phone call, go on a walk while you're on the phone call. All right. You could also organize, and another tip you could do is organize a walking group. Find a group of friends that you can walk with and say, hey, you know what? On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to walk for 30 to 60 minutes, whatever the time is. We're going to go on a walk. We're going to walk. We're going to talk some shit, have a good time. It'll be fun. In that case, yeah, you're walking, but you're hanging out with your friends. You're with a group of people. You just happen to be walking while you're there. So those are some ways that you can increase your step count throughout the day. Another thing you do is, let's say you don't have a treadmill. You don't have time to do a walking, but you can find a way to create a standing desk. You might be able to take your laptop. What I've done is, I've gotten some boxes and books, and I'll just put my laptop or desktop, whatever it is that I'm using, and place it on top of books, and that way I can do my work while standing. What you do is while you're standing there is just lift your legs up and down, kind of like you're marching and you're walking in place. Doing that while you're working, it'll get tiring, but if you do that for 10 minutes, let's say you do it for 5 to 10 minutes every single hour, you're going to increase your step count. Because if you work 8 hours a day and you do that for 5 minutes every hour, that's 40 minutes that you stood up and walked in place. So there's some tips that you can do to increase your step count if you're chained to a desk all day long. If you found these answers to the questions very beneficial and you can apply them to your life, do it. Apply them. And if you have a friend that you know of that can benefit from this and they've been asking you those questions, feel free to share this video with them. Let them know, hey, find this question right here at this time. Tell them to watch the video, like and subscribe for more content like this. And if you have any questions at all that you would like to have answered, shoot me your questions in the comments and I'll put them on the list here and I'll answer them next time. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day and I will see you later.